Twitch has just announced subscribers-only streams. Can you tell this part was written a while ago? An option that allows streamers to gate some of their streams and subsequent VODs behind a monthly subscription if they so choose, so only people who've paid them can watch it, which I thought was already a thing, but I guess not. I don't use Twitch. It's too complicated for me. I don't understand the features, I don't know what the fuck bits are, and YouTube has a more readable chat log. I'm like an 80-year-old trying to figure out an iPhone. It's just too much, and I've resigned myself to forever be in the dark. I don't know why 1,000 of you are following me on there. You'll be waiting a long-ass time for the second coming of your streaming messiah. But back to subscribers-only stuff. Some people are upset by this, and I am fully against that. It just can't sound like anything but vindictive, petty, childish entitlement to be upset that people can watch things you can't because they're paying and you're not. Oh no, is this an unbalanced hierarchy? Is this crony capitalism? Evil corporate greed, perhaps? Or is it just that creators now have another way to reward their most fervent financial supporters while encouraging others to get on board? Providing incentive for people to give you money is literally how the concept of the marketplace was first established. This is exchanging goods and/or services for money, otherwise known as the foundation of trade. Streamers and content creators are just so nice that we give a lot of our shit away for free with just the hope that people will donate what they can if they feel like it. Creating stuff exclusively for those who are contributing to our success is a worthwhile endeavor, and if you don't like being left out, you can either pay up or deal with it and respect the hustle or vacate the cyber premises. We can restrict things to paying customers only if we want to. If you want to come use this bathroom, you gotta buy a coffee first, motherfucker. I can especially understand the benefits when it comes to viewer participatory games like the Jackbox Party Packs or private Smash arenas. Subscribers only weeds out the riffraff and helps ensure quality camaraderie and competition without trolls. If I was on Twitch, those would be the types of streams I'd restrict. And I assume even if the stream is private, you can switch the VOD later and make it public too if you want, so others can at least watch. That is an issue for me specifically, as I can't stand the thought of only some people watching my stuff. I want everyone to bask in my glory with their eyes glazed over as the visual majesty of my content is tattooed on their retinas. If I could instate a low-level effect of hypnotic suggestion with my videos that gets everyone to share them with their friends and become channel members and donate all the time, that's the dream. If I ever discover the secrets of mind control, you'll be able to tell because I'll have 100 million subscribers overnight and you'll be one of them. People really rail against exclusivity, and in some cases it makes sense, like when games are restricted to one platform. Like, of course it would be nice if all games were on all platforms. Doesn't mean it's feasible, though. You'd need the world's largest pair of scissors to cut through that red tape, but exclusives are also the #1 reason to buy one system over another. Truly they are. More so than looks, more so than affordability or processing power or features. It all comes down to the games, man. Why else did the PS4 win the console war against Xbox One, and why else does the Nintendo Switch have any ground to stand on at all? I play my Switch docked 99% of the time. I don't use its portability in the slightest. It has far less technological specs than the PS4. The system might be cheaper, but the accessories sure aren't. The online is worse. Voice chat requires a dumb companion app, so everyone just uses Discord, so what's left to sell it? The games you can't get anywhere else, baby. Mario and Pokemon and Zelda and Fire Emblem, etc., etc., every game. Yet another reason to buy a whole system just for it. Do you have any idea how many people bought a Switch primarily for Smash or Breath of the Wild? The answer is quite a lot, sir. And the reason is they weren't available anywhere else. Imagine playing Pokemon on your PS4. It'll be a cold day in hell before that shit happens, though I'd love to see them with those enhanced graphics. Let's talk about hate and harassment in the gaming community. Everybody of any renown whatsoever gets hate at least sometimes. It is a fundamental truth to the public figure experience. Of course, it's easy to say things like, I wish nobody ever got harassed, but you can't operate in a utopia. You have to live in the real world and deal with the real inevitabilities of being online. That's why I firmly believe that everyone who exposes themselves to the public has to have a level of insulation against this type of behavior. You've got to prepare yourself and build up a resistance to it or you won't last. The internet is survival of the fittest in that respect. The weak won't survive, and we see it all the time when people quit social media in the face of large swaths of negative attention. But there's something to remember about the harassment mobs that's true in almost every situation except if you've done something truly irrevocably bad, which is the hate is vastly outweighed by the support. When that Asian chick in Star Wars was mobbed as a diversity hire, she quit social media and it was a huge deal. But what people generally fail to think about is that you have to imagine her support was exponentially stronger. There's no doubt she had way more positive comments than negative ones, but people let the negative ones win out, which directly punishes the supporters as well. When you quit social media, you are letting your followers down. It's tough to hear and say, but it's true. Nobody wants to feel entitled to somebody's content, and they aren't, but still, taking it away is taking it away. Your haters might stop being able to hate, but your larger amount of supporters stop being able to support as well, which I'd say is a bigger deal. Another thing is people have a habit of massively overestimating how much hate they actually receive compared to support. It's easy for them to tune out the positivity while every negative comment jumps out at them and overshadows the rest. People get caught in this loop of negative reinforcement that slowly desensitizes them to messages of appreciation and support, and that's something you can't allow to happen. You have to have the will to push through the hate, especially when it's so outweighed by the love, which you would recognize if you didn't leave yourself unguarded. Let's be clear with that, though. Obviously, the burden of guilt is on the harasser. It's not your fault you're being harassed unless your actions or statements were purposely meant to draw that kind of attention. But it is your responsibility to defend yourself. Let's say somebody's trying to kill you with a knife. This is a very intense example. You've taken self-defense classes. You know how to disarm someone wielding a knife. You could do it in your sleep. But instead of fighting back, you just stand there and let him stab you until you die. Can you really be expected to shoulder none of the blame for what just happened to you? Will the murderer be arrested? 100%. Will people who witnessed the event also kind of look at your dead body with confusion and think of you as an absolute idiot for just standing there like a lifeless mannequin? Probably. And could you blame them? Now you might say, but what if you don't know self-defense? And that's where I'd say you better damn well learn it. Nobody is unaware of what kind of environment the social media landscape is. We've all heard the horror stories. We all jokingly refer to it as a pit of hell that consumes all who enter in a fiery blaze of immolation. So if you're gonna step foot in here, are you really going to go in unprepared? Do you not have some kind of responsibility to adequately steel yourself? Are you really just going to enter the dungeon without healing and buffing your character? It's just common sense. Dungeons have monsters. Monsters attack. You can't just be like, well, the monsters shouldn't be attacking me. It's wrong and I don't like it. We live among monsters and we know what monsters do. If you're not equipped to handle them, you shouldn't be in the damn dungeon to begin with. No, yeah, instead of activating a shield or throwing out a stun, just ask the ravenous werewolf not to eat you. I'm sure he'll listen. And if he doesn't, it's not your fault if you get eaten. That's not how it would go down in the utopia I don't even live in, after all. In my world, we'd all be friends, and people who typed mean comments would be burned at the stake, and we'd listen to their screams as a harmonious melody performed over our fabulous feasts and parties. I do have sympathy for people who are bullied off the internet. But even that's a disingenuous phrase, bullied off the internet. That implies that you receive so many mean comments that their sheer volume and severity actually just straight up locked you out of your own account, like a bully virus that infected your social media and corrupted your password. When people are bullied off the internet, they actually just made a conscious decision to retreat in the wake of harassment rather than face it head on. And no one's saying you can't do that, but it is the worst option. Think of all the people who are still here, still fighting through the adversity. And again, it still feels wrong to give too much power to the harassers. They're such a small segment of the community. I choose not to flatter them by extending them a significance they don't actually have. And it's because they're so minuscule and weak that I have trouble getting past a particular threshold of empathy for their victims. Because it's like feeling sorry for someone who was killed by a house cat. Like, what? You let a house cat kill you? How? I mean, they have claws and fangs, so I guess it's possible, but just, wow. Maybe you should be just a little bit ashamed of yourself? Don't get me wrong, it sucks that you're dead. That's tragic, but it also seems very preventable, and perhaps it's now kind of just a little bit hard to respect you. Allowing bullying to affect you on the internet is like going to the volcano area in Breath of the Wild without heat-proof clothes or potions, starting to take damage from the molten atmosphere, saying to yourself, this shouldn't hurt me, this is a hostile environment and I don't like it, and then rather than adapting, you just keep standing there watching your health tick down, growing ever more indignant like, oh my god, why is it still hostile? I just said it shouldn't be. And then you just keep complaining until you're dead. Accept reality. That's where the rest of us live. This is not to say that harassment or bullying or whatever is okay. I mean, I would say that small amounts of it are healthy in developing your psyche and keeping you grounded, building you up some resistances in the process. Have you ever met someone who's never been told anything mean before? Are they even human? And then what happens when someone insults them? Do they just kill themselves immediately? You have to have some natural resistances and immunities to the environment around you, or you aren't adapted to live anywhere. Nords in Skyrim are resistant to cold. And they got that way by dealing with the cold, not hiding from it. I've said pretty much the same thing in like 8 different ways now, but it's still fun. Again, I don't condone harassment or bullying. If you're upset about something, handle it internally. And certainly don't accuse Junichi Masuda of rape if you don't like how he's handling Pokemon, because are you fucking kidding me? Probably more on that in the next episode. That's going to do it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, you can like, share, and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter @SunburnedAlbino, and I'll see you guys next time.